Ladies and gentlemen, against all odds, President Trump has just done it again. President Trump has just negotiated one of the most consequential deals of all time, and in this case, the CCP has just totally capitulated. Now, as many of you know, when it comes to the fentanyl that's been getting manufactured down in Latin America, then smuggled into the United States of America, pretty much all of the precursor chemicals used to make that fentanyl actually come from China. But as a consequence of President Trump's meeting yesterday afternoon with CCP leader Xi Jinping, the CCP has now officially agreed to crack down on the exportation of all of those precursor chemicals, a new deal that will invariably end up saving hundreds of thousands of American lives. And so on that note, take a listen to what Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent had to say just earlier this morning about how these negotiations with the CCP really went down.
Well, Maria, all the congratulations should go to President Trump. He has a fine relationship with President Xi. The mood in the room was one of great respect, but also between two men who knew each other quite well and knew what they were getting into. I think what was very helpful for today's meeting was my counterpart, the Vice Premier, Hu Feng, and I had 2 days of very tough and fulsome negotiations in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, earlier in the week. So President Xi walked in the room and said, I think we can agree on the consensus reached in Malaysia. And so the two leaders were able to discuss more bigger picture ideas during the conversation, including what the remainder of President Trump's term would look like, because I think the Chinese realize that with President Trump in office, it is an opportunity to reset the relationship in terms of mutual respect. President Trump is commanding respect around the world like no other leader.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Even the CCP knows that now that President Trump is back in the White House, over here in the USA, we are finally putting America first.